It comes through. Periscope, Facebook, all three of them starting to come up. Okay, once again, good evening. Welcome to the Sports Time New Orleans Sports Podcast, and also we'll have coaches shows from Tulane and also Houston. So that's what's going to happen tonight for this podcast. We will have coaches shows, no news headlines. That's what we'll have tonight. So if you want to come in, talk about football and stuff like that, Tulane and Houston, come on down. We will have it on momentarily. We make sure everything is up and running. So everything is up and running for Facebook. So everybody on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch can come on in. We'll go ahead and put on the Coach Willie Fritz show. That will begin in just a moment. Let me go ahead and switch this out. And we'll go ahead and do that on now.
2 springs ago, and I had a great freshman year, and he's going to build upon that right now, and it's a good fit for him. He's got a lot of people that he knows in the New Orleans area and good friends. The thing I like about both these guys are good buddies with everybody on the team. They know the offensive guys, the kickers, punters, snappers, the defensive guys, and they're very well liked by their teammates. And these are the kind of guys we want to have play for us here at Tulane. Guys that are do a great job in the classroom, and guys that are good in the community, and also we want Division I football players. We want those guys
and
too.
Both of them
and
are.
Both these guys are definitely that.
All right, so we'll step aside here on the Willie Fritz radio show from Loft 18 in Metairie. We'll return with the head coach in just a moment. We'll start to look at the big game on Thursday against the Houston Cougars. Back in just a moment after these messages on the Tulane Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
For over 7.
Okay, Coach Fritz show will be back in just a few moments. We'll go over some scores while we wait. Also, we'll have the Dana Hoskins show. That will be later on this evening, so right after 7 o'clock. So let's give you the MLB score update. MLB score update at this hour at 6:10 Central Time here in the Central Time Zone. It is Yankees and Angels scoreless, runners at first and second. That's in the bottom of the second. Also, top of the first, it is Detroit and Cleveland scoreless. Detroit and Cleveland scoreless. I don't want to. Also, other games going on in the 6 o'clock hour will be the Braves versus the Phillies. Also, Cardinals and Nationals. 6:40 Central Time will be the Brewers and Padres. Also, the Cubs and Reds will give you the 7 o'clock hour scores. So let's go ahead and switch this around, and I'll give you the WNBA score in just a second. Okay, right now it is Pittsburgh and Seattle scoreless. Also, they're just about to get underway. Toronto versus Baltimore. Also, Boston Red Sox take on the San Francisco Giants, also at 6:10. So it should be getting ready to start. Also, the Rangers will take on the Astros, 7:10 Central Time, 7:40, just about 20 minutes to 8. It is going to be the Colorado Rockies and the New York Mets. Also, at 8:40 Central Time, that is going to be the Miami Marlins taking on the Arizona D-backs. Also, the Oakland A's will take on the Kansas City Royals. That's another game going on. Also, 9 o'clock after 9, it will be the Tampa Bay Rays and Los Angeles Dodgers. Tampa Bay Rays and Los Angeles Dodgers. So that is your scoreboard update. Let's go ahead and go back to the Willie Fritz show presented by Tulane IMG Sports Network. The live feed is on, so let's go ahead and go back there.
And spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So fly over the radar. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome back to the Willie Fritz Show. You can reach the program through our Coca-Cola inbox by tweeting at @Allegretta. Alongside head coach Willie Fritz, here's the voice of the Wave, Andrew Allegretta.
And it'll get approved. Welcome back here on the Willie Fritz Radio Show. Glad you could join us tonight from Loft 18 in Metairie. Capital One has reimagined banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums. Capital One, the official bank of Tulane Athletics. Final couple of thoughts from the Missouri State game. Before we advance the ball forward to Houston, I want to give a nod to Darnell Mooney for coming up with 2,000 career yards. Got it on his very first catch of the ball game against Missouri State. What has he meant to this program, and just a congratulations to him.
Well, same thing, with that I was saying about Tajay and Jeffrey. He really represents our program in a first-class manner. He has every single day that he's been here. Graduating here in December. Hopefully he's going to get drafted or free agent or something. He's certainly very deserving of an opportunity to, play at the next level. He's a tremendous work ethic. I kind of grab the younger receivers and point at him and say, that's a guy to emulate right there, because he comes to work every single day. He was the last guy that I signed in that recruiting class. We offered him a scholarship the week before signing day, and luckily enough, he came in, visited, and we got him signed, and he's just been a great story. 4-year starter for us.
Hopefully he's got big plays left in him throughout the course of this season, but so far in his career, if you start looking back on some of the big plays, big moments he's had, is there any one or two that jumps out to you as that's a Darnell Mooney moment to me?
Boy, he's had so many of them. That was a heck of a catch against FIU a few weeks ago. That big-time catch. He's ECU last year, he had a couple long ones. He had some RPOs and hit him in stride, and he just outran everybody. He's got great speed. There's a couple pro scouts in the other day, and this is a big compliment. I told those guys, I said, he's legit. You're gonna run 4.4 for the pro scouts, and that's hooking it. There's not very many guys who actually run a 4.4 for those guys. But great speed, and he's getting bigger and very competitive, and it's just great to see him get in the record books. And I liked his attitude after the game. He goes, well, now we're going to start working on 3,000. So that's good.
That would be pretty impressive throughout the course of this season if he can get himself to 3,000. It's not outside of his reach. So there was a video posted on social media after the game. Kind of curious your thoughts on this one, right? It saw Lawrence Graham saying that it's no secret that Tulane should be able to get to Missouri State and win by a wide margin. First off, what does it say to you that they can execute when the expectations are high? And what does it mean to you that your program has reached that sort of level? Again, much more to go, but just in a small slice against Missouri State, to have that be the expectation from the outside and then to be able to meet it.
Well, it is a very small slice. We just we got big goals, that we want to accomplish. We feel like we've done a very good job recruiting. I feel like I've got an excellent staff. But we got to. This is a tough league.
Yes.
It gets. Well, it was the last week. You got all these people beating everybody, and Temple beating Maryland. Who else? UCF just dismantled.
Doing UCF
Stanford,
things.
It's a great league, and in order for us to have the success and accomplish the goals we want to accomplish in this league, we got to play well, and we've gotten much better, but for us to look ahead would be a huge mistake.
All right, so the last thing before we advance it to Houston, do you ever get nervous windsurfing? Because you were awfully close to that ceiling fan.
Well, I only do it after wins, so they're not going to drop me then. So I don't have to worry about that.
You were pretty close to bumping your head against the ceiling fan, though.
It wasn't running, so I was okay.
All right, so if after a win there's a rather nasty slice on your forehead, we know where it probably came from.
I could live with it after a win. I'll be okay. Stitch me up.
All right, so let's talk about Houston for a quick second here. A bunch I want to get into, but just give us your impressions on, I guess, how significant getting a full, packed crowd at Yulman Stadium would be for these guys, for this program, for the moment on Thursday night.
I really think people who don't come out and watch us play are really missing out. It's such a great stadium to watch a game. Every seat is a good seat. I sometimes go to big stadiums, and if I don't have great seats, I'd much rather sit at home watching on TV. Our place, every seat is a great seat. Doesn't matter if you're sitting in the top row or you're sitting in the first row. It's 30,000. We don't have a big track around the field. It's we've got a big jumbotron scoreboard down at one end. It's going to be on national TV, and then you get to see all these phenomenal athletes compete. You got to, all the great players we have, and Houston's going to bring in a bunch of great players. So if you haven't come to a game before, I think you're going to come, and then we priced it perfectly.
Yes.
We got $5 seats. I mean, God Almighty, and then you got $3 beers. I'd be tempted to go jump in the stands and drink $3 cold beer and watch a ball game. I just think it's a hidden gem. It really is in New Orleans, and there's so many things to do in town. I know that, but I think when we get people coming out, and they see the style of play and how hard these guys play, and then the venue we're playing the game at, I think it's something that you'll come back for time and time again.
Would you know how to handle yourself as a fan in the stands watching a football game? Or would it just be so confusing for you after all of these years?
No, I go to a lot of high school games, and I'll sit. Matter of fact, I'm gonna probably go to a couple marquee games here in the New Orleans area this weekend. So I enjoy watching football games, but when I'm at home, I really don't dissect it. There's very seldom do I run stuff back, and I talk to Will Hall. He's into all these.
Yes.
He's watching it, and rewinding it, and going back and forth, and all that other kind of stuff. It kind of helps me just get my mind off it for a little while, and so yeah, I can sit and enjoy a game. Someday here in about 15 years, I'll retire, and I'm gonna go on my old schools. And I've got guys coaching all over the country at different places, and get a chance to go watch those guys coach and have them, be sitting there with a lump in their throat all game. When I can sit and relax a little bit.
I say this in the most endearing way possible. Coach Hall's mind is wired a little bit differently.
Yeah, he just he loves the game of football, and like we all do, and sometimes I'm looking at the big picture rather than do they block out or block down, or they free technique or a gap player, but he loves it. Sometimes he'll text me when we had our off week after the FIU game. He's Saturday probably text me 5-10 times about different games, about watching this, about watching that. And I was in the pool relaxing when I had the game on up there, so I wasn't watching it quite as intently as he was.
Okay, goodness. All right, I promise we'll talk Houston specifically when we return with head coach Willie Fritz in just a moment. We'll step aside from Loft 18 in Metairie and come back in just a second after this on the Tulane Sports Network from Learfield, IMG College.
Are you one of the millions of Americans experiencing back, neck, or joint pain? Tulane Orthopedics can help ease your pain. Services include physical therapy, conservative, non-surgical treatments, and minimally invasive surgery, all performed by experts in bone and joint health. Contact Tulane's orthopedic team to discuss your options and begin living a life free from pain. Visit orthotulane.com.
Ives Office Products and Printing, 60 years strong. Ives is your one-stop shop for all of your business needs. Ives offers fantastic pricing and fast delivery on office products, printing, furniture, janitorial, and break room products. Ives, buy from a family-owned New Orleans company. Visit us at ivesnola.com or call 561-8811 for your free catalog. Ives in Tulane, a winning combination.
If you're feeling under the weather, don't let bad weather keep you from seeing the doctor. Now you can click when you're sick. Blue Care from Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana lets you see a doctor online 24/7 from the convenience of your computer or smartphone. You can even get a prescription from a local pharmacy on the spot. Blue Care is an easy and affordable way to treat conditions like allergies, pink eye, rashes, and stomach bugs. Plus, it's faster and cheaper than urgent care or a trip to the ER. Visit BlueCareLA.com or download the Blue Care app on your smartphone and follow the instructions. Be sure to type Blue Care as one word. Once you're signed in, you'll speak face-to-face with a Blue Care doctor. Fees may vary depending on your health plan. Rain or shine, the doctor is always in. Sign up for Blue Care today.
Incorporated is Louisiana Health Service and Indemnity Company.
We'll have more of the Willie Fritz Show after these local messages. This is Tulane football from Learfield IMG College.
Today, millions of people all across America are building a life in recovery from addiction and mental illness, helping themselves
and helping each other, with friends, family, and community lending their strength and support.
Join the Voices for Recovery.
Together, we are stronger.
For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders, for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey you! Yeah! Hi, I'm Lenny the lifeguard. I only have a few seconds during this commercial break to talk to you about reducing stormwater pollution. Everyone loves a good tailgate, but no one likes to see litter on the ground. Litter can wash into creeks and streams, polluting our water. Tailgate or not, always pick up your trash and put it in the proper waste bin. Please remember to hop to it, protect our water, because clean water is everyone's responsibility.
This message brought to you by Stormwater mascot Lenny the lifeguard.
Welcome back to the Willie Fritz Show. You're getting all the latest on Tulane football. Once again, here's Andrew Allegretto.
Welcome back to Loft 18 here in Metairie. Mandeville Seafood is serving up the freshest locally caught seafood on the North Shore. Gumbo fried catfish and the best crawfish. So check out Mandeville Seafood at 2020 Highway 59 in Mandeville. Go see Jerry today. And, of course, don't forget Thursday night football inside Goldman Stadium. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. Our coverage of Tulane and Houston starts at 6 o'clock with the Bryan Subaru Tailgate Show listed on Sports 1280 here in New Orleans and online through the TuneIn radio app. It's part of the Tulane Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. So Dana Holgerson took over at Houston this past season. The Cougars fired Major Applewhite, brought in Dana Holgerson. What differences have you seen from this Cougars team through 3 games? Cougars 1 and 2, but they've had an awfully challenging schedule to start things off. What have you seen from a Dana Holgerson-led Houston team?
Well, there are some similarities with formations and personnel groupings and, spreading it out and getting the ball out quick and, those kind of different things. He's running the ball a lot more probably than he has in his past. I've heard him say that before. He's from the Mike Leach, family tree or whatever you want to call it.
He was recruited and played for Mike Leach, if I'm not mistaken, at Iowa Wesleyan Community College.
As a matter of fact, one of my friends was on that staff when he was playing, a guy named Charlie Moot. But, so he... has known him a long time and coached a few different times for Coach Leach, and Hal Mummy was the head coach there at Iowa Wesleyan, and then they all went down to Valdosta State and had a good quarterback named Chris Hatcher who's at Samford now. I know Chris pretty well, and then they went to Kentucky, and then Leach went over to Oklahoma, then down to Texas Tech, and I think that's where Coach Holgerson started coaching for him. And he'd been in Houston before as the offensive coordinator. I think he was with
Kevin Sumlin,
and they had excellent teams there. As a matter of fact, they won a bunch of games one year. I think they won 13 games, something like that, one season at Houston, and then got the opportunity at West Virginia and did a really nice job there, and now he's come over to Houston to get in the AAC.
So kind of an interesting story, I thought. When Dana Holgerson was at West Virginia, he got a phone call from Bob Stoops then head coach at Oklahoma, saying we need an offensive coordinator. What do you know about this Lincoln Riley guy who is at East Carolina? Dana Holgorsen was part of the cast of characters that vouched for Lincoln Riley to take over as the OC at Oklahoma, and then all of a sudden, at this point, Dana Holgorsen is now 0-3 against Lincoln Riley coach team, so it kind of came back to bite him in a sense. Have you ever had that happen to you? Did you ever vouch for somebody and watch that person turn around and beat you?
You know, I can't think of one offhand, but I'm sure it's happened, believe me. But, you know, I've had so many, you know, I've been this 27th year as head football coach. And, you know, I started off at JUCO and then Division II and 1AA. And, you know, I lost plenty of guys.
Yes.
You know, they kind of would move on to that at a higher level. I think I counted it up the other day. I think Will Hall is my 11th or 12th offensive coordinator that I've had. And,
wow.
You know, and I've had you know, 9 or 10 defensive coordinators, and so I've you know, I've had to hire guys. You know, one guy, you know, leaves and goes up to gets a Division I job or whatever. When I was at Central Missouri, I had that happen with a few guys. So, you know, I've had a lot of really good coaches, and unfortunately, this profession, there's a lot of guys who are moving up, and they're very mobile, and if they're pretty good, you know, people are looking at them, and you know, you'll lose a guy here or there. So that happens, but this is you know, this profession is a little different. If you think guy's got a better opportunity, you wish him well and hope he gets that job and makes the most of it.
All right, so De'Aaron King is the starting quarterback for Houston. He is all of the talk for the Cougars. How do you even begin to process a dynamic, athletic talent like De'Aaron King?
You know, he just is very quick, great speed also. Very decisive when he tucks it and runs. When he's in the pocket, he can throw the ball effectively, and then when he gets out of the pocket and he's moving, he throws the ball on the run very well too. So, you know, we got to do a super job of not allowing him to get out of the pocket. You know, and that's hard to do. It's easier said than done because there's a lot of gaps up there, and a lot of times you got 5 guys blocking 3 or blocking 4, sometimes 5, and guys, you know, not keeping the ball on his inside shoulder. You create a scramble lane for the quarterback, and now you got to try to get that guy down in open field, and that's tough.
And like you said, he's probably an NFL talent on Sundays. Question mark, I suppose, is if he plays quarterback, but he's a dynamic talent for sure at this level. Talking with Coach Curtis the other day, he said this offense, so not just De'Aaron King, but this offense as a whole stretches you to the max. What's he talking about there? Because it's not just De'Aaron King.
Well, you know, they use the whole field. They use, you know, 53 1/3 yards.
Yep.
Horizontally, they use, you know, 120 yards. You know, vertically, they take shots deep. They run, you know, fly sweeps and plays on the perimeter. They have an inside running game. You know, some people are you know, they run a perimeter run game a little bit. Most of the stuff's in between the tackles, or vice versa. They have a whole array of plays that they'll run, and then the same thing in the passing game. You know, it's not a unbelievably sophisticated, complex passing game. They just know it inside and out, and they've got things they do offer. You're in here, they're going to do this. Your outside leverage, you're going to do this, and the kid's got to know what he's doing. It's very intricate in that regard.
Yes,
without question. So you know, sometimes you watch. I think you watch Coach Leach on the sideline, and his piece of paper that he's calling plays on looks like a little what do you call that, little piece of paper?
Yeah,
sticky note.
Yeah, it's like an index card at most.
Not very big, you know. Yeah. I was watching Coach Holgorsen this last ball game they played, and his piece of paper is a little bigger than that. But you know, it's just, you know, they've got some things they like to do, and they believe in it, and that's what they're going to do. But there's a lot of variables off every, you know, pass that they do throw, and there's a lot out there heavily involved in the RPO game too, and so they do an excellent job.
Do you ever catch Mike Leach's press conferences?
A little bit. You know, the one that I saw that was good a couple of years ago was when he was talking about mascots.
Yep.
And, talking about Pittsburgh State, where I went to school, how the gorilla was the best mascot in all of college football. And
the what, to be specific?
The Gorilla.
The Gorilla.
Pittsburgh State
the
Gorillas.
Pittsburgh State Gorilla.
And,
okay.
He talked all about it, and so I had a bunch of people send me that, but I don't get to watch his press conferences very often. But one good friend of mine is the equipment manager there, and he's got nothing but good things to say about Coach Leach. Says he's very entertaining.
I can't imagine you would be offering marriage advice like Mike Leach does in his press conferences.
Well, I try to stick to what
okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
All right. I'll get you out of here on this one. We've talked a lot about Houston's offense. Let's talk about Houston's defense for a quick second. What is something fans should pay attention to as Justin McMillan, Tajay Spears, the rest of the crew line up against the defense that has been very aggressive in coming up with turnovers?
Yeah, a lot of movement. I saw one of the stats earlier in the week where they're leading the country in the last 5-6 years in takeaways. And they're number one in interceptions. I know that for sure. I think Ohio State was second, but they've got good athletes over there, and they mix it up well. They really do they vary their line charges with their defensive line. Their defensive coordinator was at Arkansas State for a period of time, Valdosta State at one point in time, and he does a really nice job. It's they've got great athletes. I think their safety was the number one ranked safety in Division I football coming out of high school.
Yeah, and transferred too, I think.
Yeah, went to Ole Miss and transferred to U of H. So a lot of great players, good scheme. They do an excellent job on that side of the ball too. They played. Someone was talking about, you look at their stuff. Well, they went against the number one offense in the country, in Oklahoma, who does it to everybody. They're really good. And then Washington State, who number 20th ranked team in the country, who does it to everybody. I mean, he's put up 500 yards passing against a lot of really, really good teams. So, they've got a very formidable defense, without question.
I'll let you make the pitch one last time about the atmosphere, the excitement, the opportunity on Thursday night, what fans can expect if they come to Yeoman.
Come on out. It's going to be a great game. Two excellent teams. You're going to have a great seat. You're not there won't be a rumor of a game going on down there in the field. You're going to actually be able to watch it and see what's going on. And you can see these great athletes that we have. Houston has as well. I really believe if you come to a ball game, you're going to get hooked on coming to Yeoman. It's an awesome stadium. And we got a bunch of exciting players. I'm sitting here watching. They got the highlights up here on Loft 18 from the last ball game, and I've watched Tajay's run here about 5 times and his catch about 5 times, and we got some explosive dudes, and I think you'll really enjoy yourself, and you'll come on back.
Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Roll wave.
We'll step aside, come back in just a moment to Loft 18.
Hey, I got one other thing too.
Go.
We got our video staff in here, and Brandon runs his crew, and just like last week, we had the equipment staff in here. They do sometimes people call it a thankless job, but at Tulane we thank everybody, and they are awesome. I love having these. We got young ladies that work for us. I got 2 daughters older than all of them, so I love having these young ladies out here working and videotaping, and we got all these guys here that work their tails off, and every single person in our video staff works tremendously hard, very loyal to the program. I appreciate the heck out of them. I'm kind of running from about 5:30 in the morning until about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I don't get a chance to interact and talk as much as I like, but we appreciate y'all. Thank you very much.
And hopefully the fans can come on out and check out their work on the video board on Thursday night at Yeoman. We'll step aside from Loft 18, come back in just a second. Tajay Spear, Jeffrey Johnson ahead on the program. Back after this on the Tulane Sports Network from Learfield. I am G. Collins.
Okay, once again, the Coach Willie Fritz Show will be back in just a few moments. Just a reminder, we will have the Dana Hoscom Show. That will be also audio feed as well from the Houston audio feed. So it will be up on Houston's audio feed. We will have that as well. So that's tomorrow night. We will have the Coach Ogeron Show. That will be tomorrow night at 7. We'll have it live here on Restream. That will be audio simulcast as well. So let's go ahead and go up some more scoreboard. Let's do that. Let's go over the scores again, MLB scores. Once again, MLB updates. I know we got games going on in the area. Okay, it is top of the third. It is Yankees up 2-0. Also, the Pirates down 1-0. The Blue Jays going into the second down 2-0. The Indians also down up 1-0, so they're up 1-0 in that game. Also, the Giants up 1-0. Top of the second, runners at first and second, 2 outs. Also, the Atlanta Braves and Philadelphia Phillies, no score, runners at first and third. Other games will be going on in just a few moments. We're showing them on your screen, so if you see them right on your screen, that is what we're going to have tonight for Major League Baseball. Let's give you an update on the WNBA scores. Okay, WNBA, it is at halftime, LA up 40-37. That's in the halftime period. That's in the WNBA semifinals, game 1. So that's your updates right there. So let's give you some more updates. Okay, this is from Sporting News. Let's give you Sporting News headline while we wait for the Coach Fritz show to come back up. This is from sportingnews.com. Go to Sporting News. It's any time of the day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is what they're talking about. This is free agency trade rumors. Bears are working out for 4 pass rushers. So that's going to be the norm right there. Going into the week 4 of the season. So what we're showing you on our screen. They're looking, the group appears to be highlighted by Shane Ray, selected by the Broncos and also out of Missouri. Also, he recorded 14 sacks in 49 games. So that's Shay Ray. That's one of them. Also, let's see. So he's that's information on him. Chicago is 1-1 on the season after Eddie Palio. I'm trying to say his name. He drove a 53-yard field goal in a 16-14 win over the. So they're going to be looking for 4 rushers and their to upgrade their rushing attack and stuff like that, and their pass rushers. So I think that's good for the Bears to get another pass rusher because Khalil Mack can't do it all and stuff like that. So I think it's good that they pick up another defensive backs, another defensive lineman, and some pass rushers. So once again, this is from sportingnews.com. You can go to sportingnews.com and talk about, if you want to read this story about the 4 pass rushers being targeted for a trade for the Chicago Bears. So let's go ahead and go back to the Willie Fritz Show presented by IMG College and also Sports 1280, the audio feed. So let's go ahead and go back there. Once again, we'll have Dana Holscomb at 7 p.m.
About you specifically and the defensive line as a unit, the way that you guys were able to control the running game in the first half. I know it changed as the game went throughout. The goal is to win the game, not to just control the first half, but 5 yards in the first quarter. What was going well that night, and what did you guys learn about yourself that night?
I mean, I feel like we've learned a lot since last year, and this game kind of meant a lot to some of us guys up front because I mean we played Ohio State last year, which is a big team. So this year we said we just got to come out and dominate the front, and like I said, that's where the game is won at up front. I mean, they didn't really have any run lanes to run anywhere, so I mean I was just coming off the ball and dominating your opponent and doing your techniques that you've been taught.
What sort of pride do you take in being able to control the line of scrimmage? Again, especially you, because you clog up the middle. You're the one that changes the dynamics right up the middle against the center.
I mean, it's kind of something that's natural to me. I mean, because I'm a top-heavy guy. I mean, so I mean, it's kind of tough for a lot of guys to move me. I mean, but I take it as I guess as a how do I say this?
Whether it's a challenge or a point of pride, or I don't know exactly where you're going here, but I'm trying to help you out.
Yeah, point of pride. I mean, because a lot of people, that's something a lot of people can't do. Just sit there in the middle and clog up gaps and stuff like that.
Yep. When did you know? I suppose maybe the growth was a part of it, your physical growth. But thinking back on your own personal football career, talking with Jeffrey Johnson here at Loft 18 in Metairie, when did you know that you might have a skill set for clogging up the middle?
I mean, it kind of came to me in high school when I started powerlifting. I'm kind of a heavy squatter guy, so I mean, just holding that much weight on my back, just sitting there going up and down. I mean, that shows me it takes a lot of force to move me.
Yep. Take me through why you chose Tulane. Coming out of Mississippi, you're from north of here. Walk me through that whole process. How did we end up here? Why here? What was special about Coach Fritz, his program, and ending up here in Uptown New Orleans?
Well, I kind of had a unfortunate senior summer for me. I was misdiagnosed with a muscle condition that held me out for 2 months, and I feel like that led a bunch of big teams off, and so they kind of got quiet on me, and then that's kind of when Tulane stepped in and started recruiting me. And I'm kind of fortunate for that because I came here on a visit and I just fell in love with the place. Coach Fritz is an awesome guy. The Coach Peeps, the D-line coach, and Coach Curtis, the defense coordinator, they did an awesome job recruiting me. And when I came here, it's all about the culture. It's about fitting in and being comfortable. I mean, a lot of schools, you see a lot of guys go to a bunch of schools and just because they got a name for themselves or a big school and they don't fit in there, and so they have to transfer, go through a whole different process of, trying to find this place or find that place to go. I was looking for a place that's close to home, a place where I felt comfortable, and what a lot of guys are looking for, kind of playing time. But I didn't think it was gonna come that fast though, because I was kind of thrown in the fire as soon as I got here. So.
I suppose the obvious question is, how much motivation do you get from the fact that some schools decided to pass on you after the misdiagnosis?
I mean, honestly, I was kind of down during that time, but it was kind of tough for me because I had a lot of options to choose from, and some of the schools I really was interested in, and kind of stopped talking to me. So it was just, I don't know, it was a lot of communication. Non-communication from different coaches and different schools. So.
I can't imagine being a recruited athlete. I've never, ever, obviously, looking at my build, gone through that particular process. How stressful would you qualify that process?
It's very stressful. I was talking to Tajay earlier about how the semester's starting to roll around now. It's long hours up, studying, doing the homework. I was up pretty late last night. I was pretty exhausted this morning.
All right, so we need to step aside for just a second, but don't go anywhere. I want to ask you about the Houston game coming up on Thursday, because you as a defensive front have quite the opportunity in front of you guys with a very skilled Houston offense. So we'll step aside, don't go anywhere. We'll continue our conversation with Jeffrey Johnson, a defensive lineman for Tulane, in just a moment when we return to Loft 18 in Metairie after this on the Tulane Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, just 15 minutes away. In the show, and Coach Fritz's show. If you have a question or comment for Coach Willie Fritz, you have to go to the Green Wave FB Twitter page. That's Green Wave Football. So if you want to go there and you want to ask a question to Andrew Gallagher, that's the play-by-play voice of the Tulane Green Wave, you can send your questions to him. He will get it. We're not a question and answer show. We're just a listening post for everybody to listen. So this is only a listening post, folks. So let's go ahead and go over some more headlines. Let's pull up some info. Okay, this is what we're showing you on the screen. This is from NBC Football. NBC Football 49ers swap long snappers and signed John Condero. John Condero, that's Condo. John Condero. He is the guy that they will that the 49ers sign. So John Condero is going to be. They did waive Colin Haber. That's HOHBA. So he's He's going to be waived. So Cordero had played 180 games with the Oakland Raiders. So he did. So he's going to be signed with the San Francisco 49ers. So that's going to be across the bay. So that's a news story right there. This is from Cherry Wilson. You can reach her at NBCSports.com. That's NBC Sports Pro Football Talk.com. So once again, we will join the Willie Fritz Show in progress. We have about 14 minutes left. So once again, I'll have to repeat it again. If you have a question for Coach Fritz, send it to Andrew Allegan. I don't want to mispronounce his name. Just send it to Greenwave.B on his Twitter. Once again, we're not a question and answer. I won't be able to answer those questions for you for Coach Fritz, but you can send that to them. So we'll go back to the Willie Fritz Show presented by IMG College and also Sports 1280. Also, you can go on TuneIn app and be able to access them as well. So let's go back to the Willie Fritz Show.
Takes a minute and it can save your life.
Always call 811 or visit clickbeforeyoudig.com before you start work. A message from the Pipeline Operators for Ag Safety campaign.
Live from Loft 18, this is the Willie Fritz Show. Once again, here's Andrew Allegretta.
Well, Tulane fans, a 1, a 2, a hell of a brew. Green Wave beer from NOLA Brewing is available at Yeoman Stadium and throughout New Orleans. Cheers to NOLA's Green Wave beer. All right, here with defensive lineman Jeffrey Johnson as we continue our conversation about Houston on Thursday nights. Give us some keys defensively that you guys have really talked about because this Houston offense is obviously dynamic.
Well, first and foremost, I feel like this week we've stressed making the quarterback a quarterback, not establishing like run lanes for him to escape. And so I feel like to do that, I feel like it's not just one person or I feel like it should be the whole defense. I mean, because you can't really play at two levels on the defense. I mean, you got an offensive lineman up here, you got an offensive lineman up here. I mean, that's what established the run lanes for him to get out. So.
Maybe a simplistic question, I don't know, but how do you guys work as one unit? Is that just through the practice and the time together? What do you have to do to make sure that you guys are moving as one line instead of just individual pieces?
I mean, I know Coach this a lot. I mean, you can't really coach effort. It's all about the effort. I mean, you can coach a guy technique and different things every day, but it's all about the effort up front. I mean, you can't just go out and put your hands on the guy and not give us much effort. So.
How much more comfortable are you this year? You talk about going into big games. You saw Ohio State a season ago, but you personally going from freshman to sophomore season, how much more comfortable are you?
I feel like last year was kind of a learning experience for me because, I mean, like I told you, I came in early, and it's kind of a learning moment. And I feel like I kind of played a little bit slow, kind of hesitant of how I was playing. I feel like this year I can pick things up a little bit.
Give me the significance for you of guys like Cam Sample and Patrick Johnson.
I mean, Cam Sample, he's a really good guy. I mean, he's one of those guys on the defense that gives a lot of effort, and not to mention DeAndre Williams, who plays right beside me too. That was one of two big role models for the defensive lineman.
Okay, so I know everybody's excited, wants to get people out to Yeoman Stadium. Give us the perspective from a player. When you've got a rocking house, when you've got an electric atmosphere, how does it change the way that you play the game, especially at home?
It's just, I mean, the atmosphere just filled with a lot of electricity, so everybody's all amped up and ready to play. There's a lot of adrenaline in the air. I mean, it's all fired up.
What sort of motivation, if any, I suppose, do you draw from last year's game against Houston?
I mean, I feel like it was kind of everything was not on our side. So I mean, we kind of made a couple of mistakes on our own. And I mean, like I said, establishing those run lanes for the quarterback. He had a lot of run lanes last year. So I mean, we kind of ain't gonna say we did poorly as a defense, but some things we can correct to not let that happen.
Jeffrey, thank you so much for your time. Going to let you go. I know you've got to continue to prep and, of course, do the homework and be a student athlete and that whole thing, but thank you so much for coming on out. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll step aside. That's Jeffrey Johnston, Tajay Spears. Up next on the program, when we return to Loft 18 in Metairie after this on the Tulane Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, once again, the Willie Fritz Show will be back in just a few moments again. We're about 7 minutes into the show, so we will join the Houston Sports Network in progress for the Dana Holscomb show that will be tonight. So we'll have that on in just a few moments. Let's go over a few more news headlines while we're waiting for the Willie Fritz Show to come back on. They're in a commercial break as of right now. So let's go ahead and... Okay, this is from Messin. The sale of Chris Sale injury. Alex Cora encouraged update on the lefty elbow. So this is what we're showing you. I'm talking about it right now. This is Chris Sale's injury. Also Alex Cora is asking for, like I said, asking for an encounter update. So it's an encouraging update for. So I'll be honest with you. Hopefully he does come back. Because I don't know if the Boston Red Sox will make the playoffs this year. Right now they're mathematically eliminated out of the playoffs. They're not going to be in the playoffs. So hopefully he will be ready for next year when they make that run to the playoffs. But this year they're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to miss the playoffs. So that could give Chris Sale some time to recover from his injuries and stuff like that, and hopefully he will be back for next year. So he's seen by Dr. James Andrews. That's the world-renowned surgeon out of I think it's going to be in Pensacola. So that's good news for Alex Chris Sale, the pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. So he aborted the time of John's surgery on his left elbow. They injected PRP shots during the visit. So that's good. I think he should be ready for next year, and hopefully to close out the season for the Boston Red Sox. So that's from once again, that's from Messin.com. You go to Messin.com. Let's go back to the Willie Fritz Show presented by IMG College and also Sports 1280 on the internet. So if you want to listen to the Tulane games, go to Sports 1280 or go to the TuneIn app. That will be your alternatives right there. Let's go ahead and go back to the Willie Fritz Show presented by IMG College.
And I felt the hip, so I'm feeling turn tight off that hip.
Yeah.
And I turned tight off the hip, so I see number 23 in the middle of the field. So I'm like, he ain't finna tackle me. So I was rolling all the way through the line. And you know why I didn't let up before getting through the line? Because like I wouldn't waste that, for nothing in the world. Like why would I stop before the line to get tackled?
Yeah.
That's a little crazy on my part.
The fact that on that 83-yard touchdown reception, you're burning down the entire sideline. No one's even close to you. You don't need to necessarily go full speed, but you didn't stop until you hit that goal line.
Oh, because I don't believe in the stopping. Like, I'm not gonna stop regardless of the fact. So I'm just keep on working regardless of the fact. That's what type of person I am.
All right, so let's learn the Tajay Spears story a little bit. You come from Ponchatoula. Take me through the big woo in the crowd. I believe that was Katie Morris, if I'm not mistaken. Why Tulane? How did the whole thing come together?
I told Coach Hank, I was like, in the process, I was like, Coach Hank, I think I really want to go to Tulane. I believe I really want to go to Tulane. Then, like, right before signing day, another big school, Kansas State, came in. I was kind of skeptical. I wanted to go there too. But when I got the offer, like all my happiness like just went away because like it was like 14 hours away. Who want to be 14 hours away from their parents?
Have you been to Manhattan, Kansas before?
I didn't even take the opportunity to go.
Okay.
So I just signed, you know, and I just thought about the future. I thought about how much Tulane can make me grow in, you know, and help me in the education and the work field, and also the opportunity that's being presented. I really feel like Tulane is a growing program, and I feel like I can really help them grow a lot.
How important was it for you to be close to home?
Oh, it's important, man. I go home every other weekend.
What happens when you go home? Tajay Spears goes home, and he has to do what? Who does he have to see?
Oh, I have to see. I have to go back to my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh, they love me over there.
What's the best high school football game you ever played? If your neighborhood loves you, clearly you've made some noise in some football games in your high school career. There must be a few moments that they talk about with Tajay Spears. What are they?
One of them is Dennis Springs, because like I had like 3 touchdowns, and like another one is Hammond. I had like 200 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns, so them was 2 highlightable games for me.
What's the biggest thing you felt like you've learned from this coaching staff since you've been on campus back in about May or so? Whether it's Coach Fritz, whether it's your offensive coordinator, Will Hall, what's some things about football, about the work ethic, what you have to put in to be the player that you want to be that you've really learned from them early on?
The thing I learned is like, you know, just take advantage of every day.
Yep.
Like every day you gotta get better. Treat every day like a game. So whatever you do in a game, that's what you do every day. Like put your all into it. So that's what I learned.
All right, let's talk about the Houston game coming up on Thursday. Take us inside as much as you can, the offensive meeting rooms right now. What are you guys talking about? What are some just broad points of emphasis that you guys are talking about on offense?
So we talking about like, you know, execution, you know, just taking one play at a time. You know, even if you mess up, like, you know, just get up the next down and, you know, try to do the right thing. You know, just pick each other up. And also in the running back room, we just talking about like, you know, we just looking at their schemes and how they do things and their alignment. You know, they prototype and everything, and we just trying to find ways to beat them out. Really, to tell you the truth.
I'll ask you the same question I asked Jeffrey Johnson as well. I know this is your first season talking with Tajay Spears, running back from Ponchatoula, but when you get that atmosphere, when you get a ton of students in the building, when you get a bunch of fans inside Goldman Stadium, whether it's high school or college, what does it do to a player?
It illuminates you, because like when you look up in the stands, you see all them students, they cheering for like, you know, one team.
Yep.
And that's us. You know, that's amazing, man.
Tajay, I want to thank you for coming on out. We really appreciate it. We've enjoyed watching you play so far. I'm sure there's plenty more highlights coming up for you, but Missouri State was fun. Much more to come. Thank you, Tajay.
Thank y'all for having me here.
All right, so it's been a fun night here out at Loft 18 in Metairie. We've had Tajay Spears on the program. We've had Jeffrey Johnson on the program. We talked with head coach Willie Fritz. You can take that headset off if you want, Tajay. Appreciate it. Of course, don't forget, big game coming up Thursday night inside Goldman Stadium. 7 p.m. kickoff. If you don't have your tickets yet, make sure you go on to tulanegreenwave.com and track down your tickets. It's going to be an exciting atmosphere. If you can't make it out, of course, you can watch on ESPN or listen to me and Steve Barrios starting at 6 p.m. on the Brian Subaru Tailgate Show right here on Sports 1280 or online through the TuneIn Radio app. For everyone out at Loft 18 and all those listening, thank you so much. We will talk to you on Thursday, and roll wave.
Okay, the Dana Holskin show will begin in just a few moments, so let me go ahead and set this up so we'll make sure everything is on. So we'll make sure everything is going to be no blockage or nothing. So we're waiting for the stream to come up, so give me a second to get the stream up. So we'll get it up in 1 second. We got to transfer feeds over, so we'll get ready to transfer over. So waiting on the feed to come up. So the transfers should be take a few seconds. So we should have it up in a second. So let me see if we get the live stream setting. I don't know if we get it on the Houston site. I don't know if we could. Let's see if I can try it again. might have to switch it, so we're just gonna have to switch it. So we'll have to switch it to another site. So sorry about that. We'll just have to switch it over. I mean, we're having a little issues with the stream pickup, so we should be able to get the stream pickup in just a few seconds. So let me get the switched over. So we'll get it switched over to another site. We have to go over to the Opera browser. It's not picking up on the so we're gonna switch out. So let me do that switch over. Signal, let me switch over. We gotta get the signal, so I'm about to do that. 1 second. Just switch the signal, switch the signal.
The Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, the highly recognized mark of distinction in college athletics across all divisions, both men's and women's sports. Follow your favorite team's pursuit for excellence in this prestigious annual award through thedirectorscup.com, USA Today, or L Directors Cup on Twitter. Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics since 1993.
For the commercial, I guess.
Well, I mean, I've been known to kind of say whatever's on my mind anyway. I mean, they're going to do whatever the hell they want to. I mean, so it's about good matchups, and you know, I mean, I know the situation we're in right now, but you know, the reason why we're in those games is because people want to watch us. So, you know, ESPN, ABC, whatever you call them, I mean, they're the ones that came to us and said, we want you to play Sunday night at Oklahoma. I go, that puts us in a bind. They go, well, you know, if you scratch our back, we're going to scratch your back. I go, well, what the hell? Let's do it anyway. You know? So we did it. And then, the third game has been scheduled for a long time with Washington State on ESPN. And then, you know, the conference says, you know, the most intriguing week one matchup in the American is Houston at Tulane. I mean, that's a you know, Houston, Louisiana battle, Houston, New Orleans battle. I mean, a lot of people want to see it. Let's put that thing on Thursday night because everybody wants to see it. Well, they're not counting days. I mean, all they're doing is looking at matchups and how many people want to watch it. And, you know, believe it or not, we you know, it doesn't look very good every now and then, but we got a product people want to see, you know, and, you know, we got a university that people want to see, and we want to be in the spotlight. And, you know, I get it. We got to win these games, and we have in the past. I mean, I've been a part of a lot of them, and, you know, we need to be a part of them here moving forward.
You know, you have a day like today where it's very rainy in the city of Houston. You have that storm coming through. Do you take advantage of the of all the rain, practice in the rain, or do you use that beautiful indoor facility you have?
Well, that's a really good question, Jeremy. Today, from a scheduling standpoint, I mean, I'm not going to go through like the challenges of what our schedule is because I mean, I don't even know what day it is. Okay, so, but in my world, I mean, this is a no sweat Thursday. Okay, so, you know, it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of research out there. You know, as far as how do you prepare for a game, if you got a week, how do you prepare for a game? I don't know if there's ever been any research on how you prepare for a game when a week consists of 6 days, you know, over the course of 3 or 4 times. But, you know, a lot of the research out there says, you know, you need to get your work done, but you need to back off of them, and then you need to jumpstart them the day before the game. You know, preferably 24 hours before the game. Well, we can't dictate when TV sets the game. We can't dictate airplanes, which, you know, my man Dorchester over here does his absolute best to be able to dictate airplanes and when they can be here and when they can't, and he's failing miserably at it. But but anyway, so all the research says you shut down. All right, so. You know, we worked hard. Game was over Friday night. We got it over with on Saturday. We practiced hard on Sunday. We practiced hard on Monday. And then today's Tuesday, I believe. Right? I mean, if I'm not mistaken.
Close enough.
All right, there we go. So anyway, we don't do anything. We're not supposed to sweat. So we do meetings and we walk through. It's all mental. I mean, we do all the mental work. It's basically 4 hours of mental work. I mean, we watch video and we walk through things and all that good stuff. And then tomorrow, we want to jumpstart them and go full speed.
Yeah.
Due to the fact that we have to be at the airport at like 2:00 in the afternoon, we're going to have to get up there early and we're going to have to practice. Now, I don't mind going outside if it's raining, but if we're out there and lightning starts striking, then people get pretty...
They might care about that.
They might care, right? And so if lightning bolts start coming down, the trainers and the doctors and everybody's going to be over me, and they're going to be like grabbing me and say, we got to go inside. So we'll go inside at that point. Thursday night in New Orleans, it's going to be 84 degrees. It's going to be sticky. It's going to be humid. There's going to be rain in the area. It's obviously much like it is here right now. So tomorrow, if we can go outside and practice, then we'll go outside and practice. You need to be able to practice with what the climate is. And I love the indoor. The indoor has been great. We, due to the fact that we played at NRG Stadium last week, we did every practice inside. And that was good for us. We got a lot of good work in. And, I know we didn't win, but I thought we played pretty good, and we played better. We showed improvement from game 2, which is as a coach the only thing that you can ask for.
We're going to take a quick break on the Dana Holgerson Show. When we come back, we'll get into our little Woodrow's recap. We'll take a look a little bit of that game on Friday against Washington State. Also, if you have a question for Coach Holgerson, one of two ways to do it. If you're here inside the little Woodrow's, there's a microphone to my left. Just get our attention, get that microphone. We'll get to your question. Also, you can tweet us at UHCougarFB on Twitter and get into our Bud Light inbox. Coming up next, our little Woodrow's recap. It's the Dana Holgerson Show from Learfield IMG College.
Hey, y'all, okay, the Dana Holgerson Show will be back in just a few moments. Once again, I will repeat what they said. If you have a question for Coach Holgerson, you can go to their Twitter feed. That's UH Cougars. That's UH Cougars on Twitter. So you have to find it on there. So if you want to, you have a question for Coach Holgerson. So we're going to go over some more news while we wait for Coach Holgerson to come back on. Let's talk. Okay, let's see what this says. Sam Darnold admits he is not 100% for. So he is not 100%. So I look at it this way. I hope he's not wrong or something like that. So. So this information right here, we're showing you on the screen for the season opener. He confirms the timetable for.
Now, this whole thing with Sam Darnold.
So this is what they're talking about right here. We'll show you on the screen. So everything is. So I'll be honest with you. Look, they're going to need a quarterback. I'm pretty sure. Look, they did lose. They did win that game last night, 23-3. With while the Jets was converted. So I'll be honest with you, they lost that game, but they're going to need a quarterback. To be honest with you, hopefully he is going to be back for their. So that is news right there. Sam Darnold. This is about Sam Darnold. If you want to talk about, if you want to access that article, you can go to cbssports.com. That's cbssports.com. We'll have more updates during the Dana Holgerson Show. We'll go back to the Dana Holgerson Show presented by the Houston All Access multi-platform. So let's go ahead and go back to the Dana Holgerson Show.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
But there's a lot more to say. Like, if you park your car on tall, dry grass, the hot exhaust pipe can start a wildfire. So be careful out there. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hey, I'm Rodeo Clown JJ Harrison. Now, if you've ever seen me in the arena, you know I like to have fun, take chances. But I also take safety very seriously, because rodeo clowning can be dangerous, but so can farming and ranching. Never assume location of depth of underground utilities or pipelines. Before you start work, always call 811 or visit clickbeforeyoudig.com. It only takes a minute and it can save your life.
Always call 811 or visit clickbeforeyoudig.com before you start work. A message from the Pipeline Operators for Ag Safety campaign.
This is the Dana Holgerson Show on the Houston Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Once again, here's your host, Jeremy Branham.
Alongside the head coach Dana Holgerson, Jeremy Branham from inside the Little Woodrows on Shepherd. Down set, head on over to Little Woodrows with 7 Houston locations and everyday specials. There's no better place for a Coug to kick back and enjoy a few drinks. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date with our upcoming events. Little Woodrows, your local Texas watering hole. And time now for our Little Woodrows recap. Coach Holgerson, after watching all the film, taking it all in, what were some of the takeaways you had from that game last Friday?
You know, it was... the atmosphere was actually, pretty good. I was a little concerned with, the neutral site game, which, we can say is a home game all we want to. It is a neutral site game.
Very much so.
I'm not. We talked about this last week, but I'm not a big fan of, I love neutral site games. I think we need to play neutral site games. NRG needs to be a place that we play neutral site games in. But this whole neutral site game at NRG counting as our home game, and then we have to go to Pullman, Washington next year. I mean, that's not right. I mean, that's just not right. I mean, I should actually phrase it the way I really want to phrase it, but that's not right. I thought the atmosphere was good. I was a little concerned with Friday night.
Yeah.
Just because high school football in Texas is so important. High school football in Texas is so awesome. I wished I could go to high school football games, every week, which I can go to some, and I will go to some, but I can't go to them every week because, we'll be out of town and stuff. But, I hate taking that spotlight away from the high school coaches and the high school players in this city and in this state, so I was concerned about that.
Oh, what's going on? Why is the stream? Hold on. It's at 11 seconds.
That were a lot of fun, and that was awesome. But
I
was a little concerned with the atmosphere, but the atmosphere was really good. I was really appreciative of the Coug fans out there. Coug Nation showed up. They were loud and they were proud, and our showing was really good. Washington State probably brought more fans than I thought they would. It is halfway across the country, right? So, they did a good job of bringing people as well. So the atmosphere was awesome.
What do you think? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like your team came out with kind of a chip on your shoulder, on their shoulder. It seemed like they were playing very physical. Not to say that they weren't the first 2 games, but it seemed like that was a point. Hey, we're going to be more physical than this team on Friday night.
Yeah, I thought we did. We talked to the Washington State guys afterwards, and they alluded to that. They thought that they didn't think we would be as physical as we were. And you got to be physical. I mean, you got to be tough, play tough. You got to be physical. You got to play hard, and a lot of effort and all the rest of it. And that was a big emphasis for the whole week. We're playing against a unique team. Washington State's an anomaly in college football. What they do offensively is just, I know I'm a part of the air raid and whatever the hell that means and all that, but and I know what they do, and I've been around it forever, but they're the only ones that do it like we all used to do it.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is they're extremely physical up front, and they're extremely physical on the defensive line and on the perimeter as well. And they came out of that game saying the University of Houston's physical. They thought our O-line was really physical. The way we ran block was really good. The way we ran was really hard. So, that kind of got me excited. Well, I don't think it was a chip on our shoulder or anything. I just think we're ready to play. I mean, I give our kids a lot of credit from the fact that, we were ready to play week 1 and came up short. We were ready to play week 2 and we won. We were ready to play week 3. Came up a little short, had a chance to win, and I think we'll show up and play with a lot of effort this weekend as well.
Could you ever imagine in your wildest of imaginations that you'd have 2 air raid teams going toe-to-toe and you would have 3 first-half possessions and Leach would have 4?
Yeah, that was really interesting. Derek said something at halftime. He's like, "Coach, I feel like we're playing Navy."
Wow.
Because Navy's going to go on 14-play drives and eat up as much clock as you can. And it was interesting. I haven't won against Leach in a long time. It's been 10 years since the University of Houston back in 2009 since we've competed against each other. And I remember this after going against him. I remember this, that, his whole thing is about execution. He's going to get in the right play, and the quarterback's going to make sure everybody knows what to do, and he's going to look at the defense and identify what's going on, and then he's going to snap it with a few seconds on the play clock. And we've been focusing on that as well. Getting Derek in a play that we think was going to be successful, and then letting him study it and look at the play clock. I love chaos. Everybody's like, "Well, what happened about the up tempo?" Well, we went fast too. It's just we're not going fast every play. If you go fast every play, you're going to suck at everything, and then nothing's going to work, and your defense is going to hate you, and all the rest of it. So there's got to be a balance of when you do it and why you do it. And we're trying to. We're trying to, get ourselves in a position where we can execute things. And the best way to be able to do that is take your time and ID everything and make sure that everybody's good. And then if you're playing with 11 people, then you might have a chance.
Reading the stat after the game that De'Aaron King tied Tim Tebow's record 14 games in a row, the passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. Pretty elite company for your quarterback.
Yeah, I didn't watch a whole lot of tape on what they did last year. I mean, I watched some, obviously, but didn't study it and set my depth chart based on what happened last year. But I know what they did last year, and one of the stats that really stood out to me last year was, and this is one of the stats that I really pay attention to, is when you get in the red zone, how many touchdowns you score.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of teams that can move the ball up and down the field, and they get down in that red area where the field shrinks, and there's a ton of resistance, then they can't get it in the end zone. Well, the University of Houston last year was like 90% touchdown rate when they're in the red zone, and that's because of Derek King. I mean, once you get down there, they gotta guard him. He can make throws down there. He can make 2 or 3 people miss and get it across the goal line. He's got an uncanny ability to be able to score touchdowns. We were down there 3 times, and we only had the ball down there 3, and we scored 3 touchdowns. I think we had the ball like 9 times the whole game, but. Anyway, so once we get down there, our success rate of scoring touchdowns has been pretty good, and that has everything to do with Derek King.
I know you mentioned third downs are very important, obviously, as well. I thought you did a pretty good job of that, and the numbers would back that up. 6 of 12 on third downs, and pretty good defensively, too. Washington State only 3 for 10 on third downs.
That was really good. I thought it was really good. They're pretty good at moving the ball up and down the field, but when we got them in third down situations, our success rate was pretty good. If you look at all the stats, and I'm not a stat guy, but there's stats that matter, and I pay attention to them. Critical downs is one of them. If you look at it, I mean, that was an evenly matched ball game.
Sure.
We won the critical down deal. We won I think they won the field position deal by like 2 or 3. The turnover margin was pretty close, which really doesn't matter. And then the touchdown rate, we dominated them. Our defense did a good job of stopping them twice, and we're in the red zone, which is key. And you just look at it, that's an evenly matched ball game.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about was the running game, because the first time we got to see really the duo of what you have with Patrick Carr, and then you have Kyle Porter there as well, and you ran for well over 200 yards. How pleased were you with how you ran the football?
I was pretty happy with it. I mean, the thing that everybody looks at me like I'm crazy when I talk about wanting to redshirt guys, and Mulva Carr is a guy that came into the game against Oklahoma and looked different, and I agree, looked different, but he's a year away from graduating. So, let's give this kid another year and let him graduate and let him grow and learn the offense more and put him in there next year. And the reason why we can do that is because we have a couple of backs that can play. If we don't, then you can't do that, So, Kyle Porter is getting better every game. He's only been on campus for a couple of months. Really smart kid. And then you got Patrick Carr, who had knee surgery 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Looked like he didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, he didn't. Could have played him last week, and I was just like, look, I know you're way ahead of schedule, but let's get you to the next game. And he looked good. He looked different. I mean, his change of direction is really good. Getting ahead is really good. So I was really pleased with how he played.
Should I ask you about the officiating?
Sure, I'd love to talk about it.
What did you think of the officiating?
It was terrible.
Did you get an explanation on any of the?
So here's my deal with referees. Okay, so here's how I approach it. It's bad every game.
Yeah.
So our job is to ignore it. I mean, here's the deal. Try playing one of those games without it. Have you ever thought of that?
I haven't. No.
Let's pick you three. Let's pick you three and you three over there, and let's go play a game with you three. You 9 out there. Let's do that. How do you think that's going to turn out?
Well, bad.
It's not going to be good. So they're a necessary evil, so to speak. So I'm going to disagree with everything they do. And then we're going to turn all these clips in, and they're going to agree with everything that they do. So, it is what it is. I think it's bad. I think it was terrible. They threw more flags on them than I think 20% of the snaps there were flags thrown.
Really? It did feel that way.
I just think the guy wanted to be on TV all the time. But it's just I don't get it. But what are you going to do about it? I mean, so here's what we did about it. Is we took every flag and we showed our team and we said, here's what you can do better. And there's times where I go, there isn't anything you can do different. Just ignore it and play the next play. There's times where I was like, look, I don't think this is a hold, but your left hand cannot be on top of that shoulder pad. It's got to be under his armpit. Yeah. You didn't grab anything, but hand placements kind of matter, so get it underneath the armpit. Was it a late hit on the quarterback? I don't think so. So if you see it and you shouldn't do it, don't do it. If you think you shouldn't do it, don't do it. If you think he's got the ball and you want to pull the trigger, pull the trigger. What else you want me to say? So I didn't agree with most of it, but I normally don't, and they agree with everything. So you just move on and try to coach up technique a little bit better and get your guys to understand that they're going to be there every week. So don't let them affect the game in your mind. Just line up and play.
The first 2 games, your team was not heavily penalized whatsoever. So I don't think it's a trend.
I don't think we're an undisciplined football team.
No,
I think our guys understand. They understand rules and technique and what you can and what you can't do. We've brought in numerous referees and people and shown videos of what you can and what you can't do, and our guys know the rules. And we're not out of control, and we're not undisciplined. I think it was a crew that wanted to throw flags and be on TV, and that's exactly what happened.
Coming up later on in the program, we'll take a look at the Tulane matchup coming up on Thursday, conference opener for the Houston Cougars. We'll also unveil our Ask Coach Holgerson Anything segment coming up later as well. But coming up next, Ryan Dorchester, Director of Football Operations, and Shannon Dawson join us. This is the Dana Holgerson Show from Learfield IMG College. Go!
Okay, this is the Dana Holgerson Show presented by IMG College. They'll be back in just a few moments. What he said in this radio show tonight, look, I'm going to tell you, that's the truth. You got to ignore, when you get those penalties, you got to ignore and play the next play. Don't let these referees dictate what you could do. I know a lot of fans don't like to hear that notion, but it's the truth. If you play and just ignore with everything they do, you'll be fine. So that's my take on it, what he's saying in tonight's show. If you want to ask Coach Holgerson a question, go to UH Cougars on Twitter. That's UH Cougars on Twitter. We're not, once again, we're not a question and answer show for Coach Holgerson. We are listening post. If you want to ask a question to me, you can send it through my Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and Twitch. I'll tell you what's going on. If you want to ask me about the game, stuff like that, what channel it's on. So that's what we'll do. Okay, let's go ahead and go over some MLB scores at this hour. We're about to do that. We'll go over some MLB scores while we wait for Coach Holgerson to return. They're at a commercial break right now, so we're going to go ahead and go over some MLB scores while we wait. I got it on my screen. Okay, in the top of the fifth, it is the Mariners up 2-0. Also, the Blue Jays in the top of the fifth, it's up 3-2. The also in the top of the fourth, the Giants up 5-1. Also, the top of the fourth, it is the Braves up 2-0. Also, the Brewers in the bottom of the third, it's up 1-0. Also, the Minnesota Twins is up 2-0. That's going into the third. Let's go ahead and give you some more score updates here. Okay, while we wait. Also, the Cubs down 3-0. The Nationals down 1-0. Also, the Astros are scoreless in the bottom of the first. That game just started. Games in just a few in the 7, 8, 9 o'clock hours. The Rockies and Mets, the Royals and the A's. Also, the D-backs and Marlins will play at 8:40, and also at 9:10 Central Time, it will be the Dodgers and Rays. That's going to be games that's going to be going on in Major League Baseball. So that is going to be updates. So let's go back to the Dana Holgerson Show presented by IMG College. Once again, tomorrow night we will have the Coach Ed Orgeron Show. We'll be on the LSU Sports Network internet stream, so we'll have it live here for you once again.
Wings and treat yourself to amazing wings, burgers, and more. Houston's Wing Joint never fumbles when it comes to delicious food. Big brews, nonstop sports on our wall-to-wall TVs. Go to BigCityWings.com to find out more. Let's go Cougs. I guess Ryan Dorchester will be here in a moment. Shannon Dawson.
He's coming right here. You see him, little fat,
tied in,
little belly poking out.
Yeah, here he comes. Coach, I wanted to ask you before Ryan puts on the headset. University of Houston. What enticed you about coming to U of H?
The man sitting over here. I played for him. When he was the OC here years ago, I was the OC at Stephen F. Austin, so I spent the majority of my off-season time here. And so just relationships grew. I went up to West Virginia with him for 4 years, left, which was probably a mistake in hindsight, but, you got to make decisions and you got to roll with it. So any opportunity to come back, I told him, I said, I'll coach the kickers. It didn't matter to me, I said, I'll come. But really him.
So, Shannon, I got to ask you this, and I think you're...
Who is that?
Ryan Dorchester.
Oh, I just thought you was letting somebody come up the
Some
door.
random guy, yeah.
He's a staple on the show.
Oh, okay.
Becoming one. So, I got to ask you, you obviously have a different perspective, right? You played for Dana.
I would use that term loosely, but yeah. I don't know how well I played, but I played for him.
Well,
he coached me? Yes.
He coached you. I mean, and I think you're a pretty good
I played
coach.
more than you did.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think you're a pretty good.
He liked that.
You're a pretty good coach, right?
Opinions vary.
Opinions vary. Well, and as they say that sometimes the really good coaches, weren't always the best players.
Some people would say that.
So do you think that's true just in your mold?
I think I would fit in that category. I never said I was a great player.
Yeah.
I've never said that.
So what's it like going back to, because you're from Louisiana, right?
I am from Louisiana.
Born and raised. Going back playing in Louisiana, what's that like for you?
I'm not playing. Actually, I'm
coaching. Coaching in Louisiana.
I coach here, Dor.
Right, gotcha.
I don't play here. But it's good. It's good. Hey, what's the question again? What's it like to go back home?
What's it like to go back home?
It's awesome. A lot of family and friends are going to be there, so I get to see some people I haven't seen in a while, and so it'll be a good time catching up.
Louisiana is a state that's probably really well known for specific types of food, right?
I would say that.
And I know this is a radio show, so people can't see him, but you're a guy that looks like he likes to enjoy food. So if you had to put on your Mount Rushmore of Louisiana food, and I had to get a Louisiana guy to ask this question, what would be on that Mount Rushmore?
Well, I would say this. I mean, I've won multiple crawfish eating contests, Dor.
It's not shocking.
I've actually won one at Chad Clay's place years ago. And that was a long time ago, but I got challenged by a few people, and so I got taught well by an uncle of mine. So
I've seen you in action. It's impressive.
That's what she said.
I mean, it's one of your hidden talents.
It is. It's one thing I'm very good at. I appreciate you pointing that out.
But seriously, what would be your top 4 Louisiana foods?
Crawfish etouffee is probably number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Boiled crawfish would be number 2.
So 2 dishes involving crawfish.
Well, I mean, it's kind of
it's different. If you're not from there, you don't understand. I get it.
That's good. Yeah, you get it. I would say number 3 would be gumbo. My mom makes an unbelievable gumbo, and so gumbo made from Louisiana is a little bit different than most places.
Shout out Carlette.
Good job. And I would say 4 would be probably a filet mignon with some kind of crawfish and crab over the top of it.
Wow.
You know what I'm talking about over there.
Does boudin get an honorable mention?
I forgot about boudin. I would put boudin
Actually, you forget about boudin.
I would put boudin 4.
I'm not even from Louisiana.
I would put boudin 4.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Boudin's good.
It is good. It's probably my.
Do you know what boudin is? Can you describe it to the audience for us? You are from where?
Northeast Ohio.
Yeah. You look it. He looks Amish, so there you go.
The beard's been trimmed up a little bit. Didn't you get a haircut the other day?
I did, Dor.
Yeah. How long did that take you?
It was right at 2 hours.
Gotcha.
It was.
Yep.
Yep.
One of the benefits of not having a whole lot of hair, brother, is today I trimmed this bad boy down.
I see that.
3 minutes.
You have, 2 or 3 hairs to trim?
Yeah.
So, I mean...
If you had to pick what your best facial feature was, what would it be?
Probably the holes in my face. Make me uniquely presentable in certain ways.
Is that a Louisiana thing as well?
No, I think it's just a birth defect from my mom and dad. My mom says she has them, but they're in her... yeah.
Gotcha, yeah. That's the only letter we needed.
No doubt. So I did actually have a football question for you.
All right.
So you coach tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
What's that been like, coaching tight ends?
It's been different. I mean, it's probably the one position in this offense that I've never coached. That no line. And so, but I mean, all of them are about the same. It fits in the same system. So,
do you think Dana had you coach the tight ends because currently your body type and build is probably closest resembling a tight end?
I would think that you and him had conversations about it, and that's probably the direction y'all went based on certain aspects of my body, yes.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Well, it's always good.
I would be a light tight end right now.
Yeah,
sure.
You'd be a little undersized.
Yes.
Thick, though.
Thick but light. Low center of gravity, which would help.
Yeah, low man wins in football.
Low man wins.
That's all you got, Dor?
That's all I got.
I got one for you. Tell us about your tight ends, the players you have that you're coaching. What you like about them?
Christian's a dependable guy. I think that position, much like O-line, when you don't really see them messing up a lot, they're doing a good job. So they don't stick out a whole lot, and so they do their job. And so they go to work. They're kind of a hybrid of O-line and receiver, and so you don't really get to see them a whole lot in the statistics, but those guys go out there and do their job.
Coach, thanks for coming on.
Hi, brother.
Dor, as always, appreciate your help. We'll take a quick break on the Dana Holgerson Show. When we return, ask Coach Holgerson anything. It comes up next. Dana Holgerson Show from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, once again, if you want to ask Coach Holgerson a question, please send your comments and questions to Cougars. That's Cougars football on Twitter. That's Cougars football on Twitter. So that's where you can go. So to ask Coach Holgerson a question, if you have a Twitter or whatever. So I will go ahead and give you some more news updates. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk. This is from USA Today. Let's see what this is about. Let me see if we got any sports information on this. Okay, Eli. Let's talk about. Okay, opinions. Eli deserves better than the Giants. Benching for a year of indecision. I look at it this way. With this quarterback that they have, Daniel Jones, I'll be honest with you. Look, Eli's days with the New York Giants are numbered. I hate to tell you that. Sure, when he came in the league, he looked pretty persistent and winning the Super Bowl back in, I think, in 2011. But ever since then, he's been a bust, an absolute bust. So I'm pretty sure the Giants did make the right decision for the team best interest, because look, Eli Manning is not going to get them nowhere. They got Saquon Barkley. Sure, they got a good running game in Saquon Barkley. But I'll be honest with you, Eli Manning is done. I hate to say it. I know a lot of people, it might sound harsh, but it's the truth. After that performance against the Buffalo Bills, I'm going to tell you, look, this year, the New York Giants absolutely stinks. And that's the thing about it. I'm not trying to tell you that just because I look at these box scores, and I see these box scores, and I see the inconsistency by the Giants. So I'm pretty sure Daniel Jones will be the quarterback for the foreseeable future. So once again, this is from USA Today. You can go to usatoday.com. That's the sports section of USA Today. So that is one of the news updates we're telling you about. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to the Dana Holgerson Show, presented by the IMG College and also Houston All Access. You can, if you're a Houston Cougars fan, go to HoustonCougars.com. Click on watch. You can sign up for the Houston All Access feeds. You'll get football, basketball, and every sport that they do cover.
I appreciate everybody that made the opportunity to spend this rainy evening with us here at Little Woodrow's. Also, thanks to everybody that's listening on 950 KPRC. Time for our news segment. Ask Coach Holgerson anything. Doesn't have to be football related. It can be football related. It doesn't have to be Houston Cougar related. It can be Houston Cougar related. We'll start with Taylor on Twitter, Coach Holgerson. What point did you know that you wanted to get into coaching?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if I still know the answer to that question.
you reevaluate every day, I'm sure.
Yeah. Probably, I always knew I wanted to be in like education, and I mean, that's just always where I've wanted to be at. And, had no idea what I wanted to do out of high school. Went to where my older brother was, in the big city of Davenport, Iowa, a couple of hours down the road. That was a lot of fun. And came back and started playing for Hal Mummy and Mike Leach. And then I was like, yeah, those guys look like they're having fun. That's what I want to do. So that's what I did.
What was it like playing receiver for those guys?
It's good. I mean, it's fun. I get asked this question all the time. It's the beginning principles of the air raid offense. I mean, back at Iowa Wesleyan College, back in a long time ago. I mean, it's the beginning stages of what you currently see in a lot of the NFL games. Let alone college levels and high school and all the rest. So, I mean, it was good. They had no idea what the hell they were doing. I mean, they didn't. I mean, they're experimenting with everything.
Did you think that they thought it was going to work?
Yeah, I think they did. I don't, you go back and you look at it. These guys, I mean, they've done it at the highest level, right? And I think back then I thought I think that they thought that this is something that is different, that we can win games. And they won games, and it caught on, and now they're doing it at the highest level. I don't know if you can. I know I never thought it would happen at this level.
Yeah.
Which, we're at the highest level possible in college, and it's happening in the NFL as well. I don't think that the beginning stages of that at Iowa Wesleyan and Valdosta and Kentucky and Texas Tech and University of Houston and everywhere we've been, I didn't think that it would have this big of an impact. No.
Going back to Davenport, Iowa, if a friend of yours was visiting Davenport for the first time, what would you recommend they do?
I got no clue. You're going to have to ask Pat and Steve.
All right. I can ask them.
I left Davenport, Iowa when I was in first grade.
Oh, okay. All right.
I got no clue.
For the city on Twitter says, or ask, what other facilities would you like to be added to your program in the future?
A lot, and one of the things that I've been impressed with at the University of Houston is how much building that's been going on here since I left 10 years ago. That's not just the Fertitta Center with basketball or what they've done to the Alumni Center, what they've done to TCEDU Stadium. Our practice fields are better. The tracks in a whole different situation. Baseball's been upgraded. The softball's been upgraded. Volleyball has got a wonderful practice facility inside the Alumni Center. They got 3 big courts that I walk by. I may be eating up in the Cougar Den in the front and then go back to my office and they're practicing. I may sit there and watch them for like 5 minutes. It's fascinating to me. That's a whole nother situation of coaching that I have no idea what the hell they're doing.
Too.
No idea what they're doing, but they're competing hard and they're talking nonstop and their vertical is really good. And it's fascinating to me, but it's a wonderful practice facility. And then on campus, we're building all kinds of things, and it's wonderful to be a part of. The reality of the situation is it's an arms race in college athletics. You gotta keep building. If you're not building something next year, then you're getting passed up. So whatever you build, then and a year later, you got to try to improve it. It's just the way it is.
You mentioned whenever you're watching volleyball, it made me think of somebody. There's this thought that if you're good coaching one sport, you could cross over and coach another sport well if you were doing it your whole life. Like if Greg Popovich started coaching the NFL, he would have a winning NFL team. Or if Belichick was coaching baseball or whatever, that Belichick would do well coaching baseball. Do you believe that?
I really do. Because coaching is about it's about 75% reading people. And reading people and motivating people to me is in kind of the same vein. So, like 25% of it is just understanding the game.
Yeah.
And, there's people in our profession and a lot of professions that, they don't know 10% of what they should know when it comes to the X's and O's or the way the game is, the rules and regulations, whatever it is. But if you got a handle on that, then and you're really good at the other part, then you're going to be successful no matter what. I would assume Bill Belichick would be a pretty good soccer player, soccer coach. If he understood the rules and regulations, which he probably doesn't, I don't. Then he'd be able to handle that, and then it's all about managing people and motivating people and
getting the most out of players, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Have you seen this California bill at all that they're thinking about passing, or they're putting in legislation where you can't use a player's likeness, college athletes, without sharing the revenue? Have you seen that? What are your thoughts on that?
When did they do that?
I think it's still in the process of being voted on, but it could come into play as soon as, don't quote me on this, but like 2023, 2024.
Yeah, I really don't want to comment on it before I know exactly what it is and all that. Giving kids, what they're worth is obviously something that we need to consider. Their image and likeness is attached to the university. Whether that makes money or not depends on where you're at. I don't know. It's a conversation that's not going to go away. So I'll follow up closely.
Whenever I've heard you talk, really, since you've been here, you talk about your strength and conditioning staff. You have this term called muscle beach. What is muscle beach?
Yeah, it's a beach with just awesome blue water that there's there's chairs that you can sit down, and there's people that come take your drink orders, and they bring you all kinds of food, and you sit there and you relax, and you just enjoy life. And you get to do some curls every now and then.
Curls for the girls?
No. So yeah, I'm trying to think of where the term came from, honestly, but. Guys that are hurt that can't practice, they're gonna go to Muscle Beach, and they're gonna end up hurting.
So they'd rather be practicing.
It's the complete opposite of what you're thinking. Put it that way. they're gonna do curls and up downs and bear crawls, and
you're gonna make them miss practice. Basically,
they're gonna want to go back to practice.
What's the importance of a good strength and conditioning program to a good football team, good football program?
Yeah, it's everything. I mean, those guys spend way more time with them than coaches do. It was about probably 10, 15 years ago that the NCAA said, you know what, this is pretty important. I mean, from a liability standpoint, from guys being certified, that put the guys through the vigorous training of it used to be the off season, now it's year round. I mean, tomorrow morning when I'll put it in perspective for you. So tomorrow morning, as part of our preparation to get on the plane to go, we'll meet and we'll meet on special teams, we'll meet on offense, defense, and we'll go to the weight room and we'll all lift weights. Now I ain't lifting weights, but we're going to be in there with them. And so the strength and conditioning guys get them together, and they get them going. And then we go to practice, and we practice for about an hour, and then we get on the bus and we go. The strength coaches are instrumental with what our guys do at the hotel. All right, so as opposed to guys just going to the hotel room and watching a movie, or two or maybe three over the course of 3 hours, they're going to come down, and our strength coaches are going to do muscle activation things with them. There's psychology involved with it. There's nutrition involved with them. They monitor everything that they eat. This little ring that I'm wearing right here measures your sleep.
Really?
So we got a bunch of our guys on this that they talk to them and counsel them on how they sleep better.
Wow.
So it's just, I mean, the old school strength coach is a meathead and he wants them to push more weight. It's a whole nother level, and we got 5 that are highly qualified and do a great job with our football players only. And that was a big initiative of me when I first came here, is, give me these 5 guys, because they're going to know everything about these players.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a look ahead presented by Dulce Vita as we start to look ahead to the conference opener against Tulane on Thursday. This is the Dana Holgerson Show from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, once again, 10 minutes left in the Dana Holgerson Show. We'll have reminders. The Tulane versus Houston game will be on ESPN. That will be 7 o'clock this Thursday night. Also, I will have the live stream on Facebook. That will be in the stands. I will be in the stands with the camera. So I will be on the air for the game. So I will have the game this Thursday if I get a good connection. So we'll have that this Thursday night, 7 p.m. So let's go ahead and go over some MLB scores before we sign off for tonight for the podcast. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to my thing right now. I'll give you score updates. Let me go ahead and punch in the score updates. Okay, score updates at this hour. Top of the 7, it is the Yankees up 8-0. Also, top of the 6, it is the Toronto Blue Jays and Baltimore Orioles tied up at 3. Also, going into the middle of the 6, it is the Seattle Mariners up 4-0. Also, the Cleveland Indians in the top of the 6 is up 6-2. San Francisco up 5-2, going bottom of the 5th. Also, bottom of the 4th, it is Atlanta down 5-2, so they have 2 outs, no runners on base. Milwaukee is up 1-0. In the middle of the 4th, it is Let's see. The Minnesota Twins up 5-1. Also tied up at 1 between St. Louis and Washington. Also Cincinnati up 3-1. That's going to the third inning now. The Astros and Texas Rangers are scoreless. That's 2 outs. Also the Colorado Rockies in the bottom of the first is also scores. Other games will be later. So that is your score updates for right now. So we will go back to the Dana Holgerson Show presented by IMG College in just a few moments. So once again, tomorrow we'll be back on restream for the Sports Talk with Kara Wiemeyer show. So let's go back to the Dana Holgerson Show in progress.
On game day.
Chili, chili, chili!
Or you can share a Coke when you're giving out your famous guacamole recipe in a completely packed stadium.
Cilantro, chopped onion, squeeze a lime, ramen tomato, hike!
Share a Coke with a fan this season.
Ice cold, delicious!
This is the Dana Holgerson Show on the Houston Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Once again, here's your host, Jeremy Branham.
Welcome you back into the Dana Holgerson Show. Little Woodrow's on Shepherd. Time now for our look ahead presented by Dulce Vita. This week, Thursday, short week again, third straight short week, fourth game in 19 days. The Cougars will be in New Orleans to take on Tulane. A Tulane team, coach, that receiving votes, 2-1 start. Their only loss against Auburn and only lost by 18 points at Auburn. What's the scout on the Green Wave as you approach Thursday's game?
Yeah, they're a good team. They got momentum. They coming off their first bowl win in quite some time last year. They I think they went 6-6 and then won the bowl game against Louisiana Lafayette. So got the momentum. They're 2-1 now. Played well against Auburn. That was a ball game. And so they're motivated and ready to go. Last time Houston went there, they lost. So they've got momentum. They think they can win. They play hard. They're smart kids with good schemes, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge.
You look at their schedule. They've played two teams that they handled pretty easily. They played Auburn, a really good team. Is it tough to know who they are through their first 3 games?
I don't think so. I mean, those games they won handily.
Yeah.
It's not like they struggled with teams that aren't any good. And then I think Auburn's pretty good. And they
hung with them.
They did. So you just watch them. They're very sound with what they do. I think their talent has improved. Watched a lot of their games last year, and their bodies look better this year. It's going to be a challenge. I mean, we're not supposed to win, so we're supposed to go there and we're expecting a really good fight out of these guys, and I think our guys are going to be ready for the challenge.
Knowing what you know about them, what are the Bud Light keys to the game ahead of Thursday's matchup?
Well, they're pretty good at not beating themselves, So we gotta play sound football, whether it's offensively, defensively, kicking game. I think they're going to view this as a game that they ain't got a whole lot to lose. So, they're in a situation where they can make a splash with their win, and so they're going to probably take some chances and stuff, but. We've watched the video, we've game planned, and we've talked a lot about them. But at the end of the day, our guys got to worry about us. If we can make as much improvements as we did from game 1 to game 2, and game 2 to game 3, and then game 3 to game 4, then we'll put ourselves in position to be able to win. And that at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Home games are obviously great. You have the home fans cheering for you; they're on your side. What do you like about going on the road?
It's always a challenge. I've never been at their new stadium. I hear it's kind of a neat little experience, So, we've talked a lot about, just creating our own energy down there. And, I don't know if there's going to be 400 people there or 40,000 people.
Anyone's guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been there. I've been at Tulane in the Dome where there's been 400 people there. So but I hear the new one's pretty good, and like I said, they got momentum, and it's a big game for them. It's, Thursday Night Football, ESPN, once again, it's the only game on where everybody's going to be watching, so, we'll go strap it up, create our own energy, and hopefully we play pretty good.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about just the conference as a whole. You have 5 conference teams right now that are receiving votes in the coaches poll. It seems like that, speaks to the strength of the American Conference.
Yeah, it speaks to our schedule too. I think everybody that's on our schedule wins every week.
What's that record up to?
A lot to a little. If you look at it, it's a lot to a little. So, we play a challenging schedule, and we want it no other way. I mean, that's how we want it. We want to be able to line up and play against teams that are competitive and successful. And we've done that each of the first a few weeks, and then it's going to be that case on Thursday night. This is a team that thinks they're going to kick our ass, and that should motivate us. And we should go put our best foot forward.
Well, we have a couple more minutes. I wanted to ask a couple questions about your special teams, and it's namely Kyle Ramsey doing a good job for you on kickoffs. What was the decision to put him in? He's doing a tremendous job since that decision was made.
Well, we benched him.
Oh, well, he was doing a terrific job. But that squib kick worked pretty good.
Well, yeah, you know what? I mean, here's how I do things when it comes to whether it's special teams, offense, defense, or any of that. I mean, practice hard.
Yep.
And do a good job. And if you do that, then you're going to have an opportunity to be able to go play when it's game day. And he did a good job against Prairie View, and Kyle did a really good job against Prairie View. He was our special teams player of the week
and earned the start.
But then got too amped up, which is normal. I mean, he's a true freshman from here in Houston, and he kicked it 2 or 3 times, and it looked really, really, really bad. So we said, "You're done for the day, and good luck next week." And then, but it's the way it is. I don't want any entitlement on our team. We need to get guys that practice hard and line up and do things right. And if you do that, then you have an opportunity to play in the next game that we play.
Practices are obviously going to dictate, too, if Jordan Moore perhaps plays. And I know that it's going to depend on what he does during the week. But real quick, just what does he bring to this football team if he does get on the field?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about anybody that hadn't played.
Fair enough.
So we got a lot of guys that have played a lot of ball that aren't playing right now. So, if you think about it that way, then don't think about it the way that guys that really haven't played that we're not going to talk about playing. I mean, we practice these guys hard, and whoever deserves to play, we're going to put them out there, and we're going to see what happens.
You had Zamar Curvin get pressed into action, 8 tackles, second leading tackler in that Washington State game. What were your thoughts on that, how he played in a game that he might not have gotten into had it not been in a couple of injuries there?
Yeah, I'd really rather redshirt him. I mean, if your roster is built the right way and your depth is what it should be, then you don't play him. And unfortunately, we had a couple of guys go down, and Zamar went in there and played really well. I thought he played like he belonged. I mean, one of the things I told Coach Cothran a couple of weeks ago, I was like, look, I don't care if they're our best players or not in the future, but like right now, if they're young and they got a redshirt, just don't worry about it. So, unfortunately, there's been some injuries at a couple of spots that we had to put those guys in as Zamar's name.
All right, it's going to wrap up this week's program. I want to thank Walter Donaldson, our engineer, Jonathan Robichaud, our producer. For the head coach, Dana Holgerson, I'm Jeremy Branham. We'll talk to you Thursday when the Houston Cougars take on Tulane in the American Conference Opener. So long, everybody.
Okay, this concludes tonight's Sports Time New Orleans Sports Podcast. Sorry about, Sports Time New Orleans. We'll be back on tomorrow with the Sports Talk with Kerry Wiemeyer show. As always, like, share, subscribe. Sports Talk with Kerry Wiemeyer show, Facebook, WordPress, Instagram, Tumblr, and also Reddit. You can also email me anytime at kerry.wiemeyer@yahoo.com. That's Kerry with the dot, Wiemeyer@yahoo.com. Also, if you want Skype, you can send me a Skype invite at the same address. Also Hangout at the same address as well. Also social media addresses, facebook.com/Kerry.Wiemeyer.75. Also for Instagram, you can follow me at Instagram.com/sports_talk2505. Also, you can follow me on Sports Talk 78. That's Sports Talk, the number 78. .sport.blog. Also, you can follow me on the Sports Talk with Carol Wiemeyer Facebook page. That is facebook.com/Carrie.Wiemeyer 782540. That's 782540. Please put the or if you want to search it, just search it my name. It'll come up both pages. Also, you can also follow me on Tumblr. That is Sports Talk number 78. Also Reddit. You can follow me at LSU_Tulane. That's reddit.com/user 2 slashes behind user LSU_Tulane 2505. So that's 2505 for the Reddit. As always, everybody have a good evening, and we'll be back tomorrow.